welcome to our Biz Huddle podcast. I'm your host, Mitch Cuthbert, Creative Director at Baker Creative. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please hit subscribe so you can get notified when new content comes out. Please share this with anyone who could be inspired by it. Shirley Johnson, Senior Public Relations and Communications. Shirley has 20 years of agency experience serving as the former Vice President of Edelman and the former Associate Director of Boehringer Ingelheim. She has proven experience in technology, healthcare, entertainment, and nonprofit and consumer sectors. She has an extensive expertise in creating strategic communication campaigns, design, social media strategy, media relations, public relations, marketing, communications, and advocacy programs. In the past, she has worked for the Oprah Winfrey Show, Harpo Productions in Chicago for 5 years. She worked in the travel industry with leading news outlets such as the New York Times, the Today Show, as well with other travel publications with celebrities at Emerson Place, prestigious hotels in New York. Welcome, Shirley Johnson. I'm so excited to have you as part of our podcast. Thanks for joining us from Italy.
Thank you for having me, Michelle.
So I have a few questions that I think some of our viewers might find a lot of interest in learning more about the team. So how has different positions in your career prepared you for the work you do today?
That's a really great question. Well, I worked both in agencies, PR agencies, as well as in-house. And I think the variety of positions really gave me an opportunity to dab in various disciplines. Media relations is my first love, so I did media relations throughout my entire career. But other skill sets that I was able to build upon is strategy communications, event planning, social media, digital marketing. So I think the variety positions that I've been in actually helped me to move forward and offer various clients a variety of counseling, such as strategic communications, crisis communications, media relations, event planning. So I was able to kind of, the variety amount of positions I've been in actually helped me. That's how I got to where I am now.
So what would surprise people about Oprah and her show since you worked there?
What was surprising? What would be surprising? Wow, that's a good question. Well, I mean, it was a great opportunity. You meet so many different people. I think Oprah was just absolutely, I want to say spellbinding. She was a leader in every aspect, and she was inspirational. I think what probably would be surprising is how personable she was with her staff, and she knew everybody by name. She actually knew everybody's business. So I thought that was kind of cool because a woman who basically makes so much money and travels and pretty much worked 24/7 actually knew her staff and knew about them. So I thought that was kind of cool.
So how do you think public relations has changed over the years?
Oh, it has changed quite a bit. I would say now you have more of a social media aspect. When I was coming up, we didn't have social media. Now that the newsrooms have changed, you basically don't have as many reporters to call. A lot of the reporters are actually flipping to public relations. And I think now everything is kind of going online. So you can do a lot of things online. Recently, I was working with a client that had a virtual event online. And basically that would have been unheard of. But I thought what one of the creative aspect was to present a panel, but they also offered lunch via their location through Uber. So I thought that was really, really cool because it was like, okay, that's thinking out of the box, because a lot of events that I worked on, many reporters came because if you said, oh, we have food, we have, gift bags, and so what, they would show up. And because this was virtual, I think that the creativity in basically coming up with that aspect, offering lunch while they can work from their desk, was pretty much on point.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you worked at Edelman, how did that differ from a public relations role for a pharmaceutical company?
Well, Edelman, you had a variety of clientele to work on, and you had to work fast, and you had so many opportunities to basically work with a lot of different people and a lot of skill sets. So the departments was basically they had social media, then they had creative, and then you had the specialities, and then you had the actual event planners. So everything was specialized. When you're in-house, you basically have the opportunity to learn what each divisions do, and you direct a PR agency more so than actually do the work. Not do the work. You basically gather their counseling, and then you kind of put together the counseling, and then you select what is the best aspect for that business and present it to your division heads. But when you're in the actual agency, you're actually the one coming up with the counseling. So it's a matter of how the roles have changed.
Mm-hmm. So how do you think COVID has impacted the industry?
You had to really make a lot of hard decisions. I think now people are online. You have to be more creative. You have to figure out various ways to reach reporters, because a lot of reporters, basically, they're no longer picking up the phones at their office desk. They're at home. So, of course, they're not going to give you the home number. So you're trying to be creative and figure out how to contact them without being invasive. Emails, they get so many emails. Additionally, a lot of events have gone online. So you need to figure out how other people are actually conducting their business. So it makes you it forces you to be more flexible. So I think with PR now, I think you're going to have to it's no longer face to face because of the pandemic. Now it's mostly online, and you got to be able to kind of capture that person or the target attention, because there's so much coming at them.
So with Baker Creative offering that media relations piece, they can really see the value of having those existing relationships in this kind of environment.
Exactly.
So being in Italy, what differences have you noted on how PR is practiced in Italy versus the United States?
I did do some work with Edelman office in Italy. And basically, but they were working with U.S. clientele. So they were looking for PR people whose mother's tongue was English. So it was the same thing. I think probably the only difference I would think would probably be if I, reached out to any agency here or clientele. I think learning the language and understanding it is very important. And also knowing how the consumer really want its information and how it receives its information. I think that's something you have to keep in mind. Just doing the research. I think if you have the basic skills, I think that you possibly can be, PR can be applicable, and it pretty much works the same way. It's just a different type of audience or a different language. But otherwise, I think that could only be the only difference that I can possibly see so far. But again, I haven't had the opportunity to pick up any Italian clients. I've been so busy with U.S. clients. But I'm looking forward to that. Maybe it might be kind of interesting to kind of pick up an Italian client.
Okay. So how can companies best connect with their customers in today's world? What do you think is the best way?
I think they really need to establish that relationship. I don't think you can't really tell people what you want. You're going to have to find out what they want, and you're going to have to be a little bit more. You have to cater to them. So companies need to be transparent. They need to share information. They need to be consistent in their messaging. They need to go where their customers are. So you meet people where they are versus where you want them to meet you. So if they're online, if your customers are more online, then you're going to need to meet them there, and you're going to need to carve out that particular message to fit that particular medium. So it's a matter of basically being mindful and keeping eyes on details and how best to communicate with customers. So if you're basically running the corporate PR for a company, you're going to need to be astute to that.
So with so many companies of late bringing a lot of the PR and marketing in-house, why would somebody want to outsource PR? What would be the value of that?
Housing a PR agency? Well, because PR agencies, they're very nimble and they work very quick, and they have access to so many various resources. You know, when you're working for a company as a PR, you only kind of breathe that company's mission and where they are. But a PR agency can come in and give you different perspectives, especially about who your competitors are, how they're reacting, who the customers are, because that's what they do. They basically find information, analyze information, and put it out and try to make it as seamless as possible in regards to getting public relations tactics implemented. So I think that is probably why I would choose an agency, because they know what they know. And it's always good to get that extra eye or that third party.
Agreed. So then that being said, I think PR can be perceived in a lot of different capacities. And what do you think the biggest misperception about PR is?
That's funny, because I'm teaching an undergrad class, and that was one of the questions I asked them one week. What is your perception of PR? And some of the answers I got, they were very intuitive. I mean, they were very, some of them were on point. I think one of them was like, it's relationship builder. Yeah, it is, but it's so much more. I think people don't really can really grasp what PR is for the longest. My mom, when she was alive, she would always say, "What do you do again? Public relations. What is that?" And I would always have to explain what it is. And even my older brothers, what exactly do you do again? And you're trying to kind of figure out, what can I do to make them understand what actually I do? So I think because PR is such a thankless type of profession, you do so much, and it's so much needed. If any company or anyone do not have PR, they're not going to thrive. It's like basically giving out information and no one's hearing it, because the PR person knows how to get that information out in a timely manner, as concise and packaged beautifully. So I think explaining the perspective is that it's just really interesting how people just think it's only one aspect. When I was graduating college, most PR positions that were posted, they would advertise PR, but basically what the responsibilities was sales. Sometimes they lump us in sales. Yes, we go hand in hand with marketing, but PR is the one that helps anyone establish the credibility. Marketing does the saying how great they are, how great their product are. PR goes out and finds someone to say, wow, that is a great product. They find someone to kind of tout the actual product. And credibility is very important.
Absolutely. And I think people are very confused on it. And that's why we're here, to kind of give some definition. So what are some of the biggest mistakes do you see other business owners make in general?
I think because they don't really bring PR to the table. Sometimes they make it an afterthought versus part of the team. And it's very important. I mean, PR person just can't work in a vacuum. I'll write a press release, do this. And sometimes, they want to tell PR what to do. And when things don't go right, then they look at the PR person like, what happened? Well, what happened was you didn't bring your PR person as one of your main soldiers to the table. So that's what happened, Mm-hmm. So I think that's one mistake you can make. I think also sometimes companies kind of communicate what they want people to know, but they do things differently. They may put up their mission statement, but it doesn't go in hand in what they're doing. So something is, just not meshing or aligning. And I think, that has to be definitely hand in hand. I think companies need to be more transparent, and they need that PR person to be able to communicate on all aspects. Sometimes a company only uses one avenue to communicate. Sometimes they only use one medium. It could be just media, but it's much more than media. You have your social media, you have your own media, you have your paid media. So you need to make sure you're consistent and that message is interwoven in a way that it is just being resounding to everyone consistently.
Absolutely. And I know you mentioned kind of the whole having that blend, whether companies want to reach over the pond, whether they're based in the United States or whether based in Europe, having Baker Creative have those resources and connections can really make a difference in getting the word out about a brand, especially in the middle of the way the market is pretty volatile. What were your thoughts on that? What were the top 2 things that PR could help solve if they were going to do that?
Well, I think so one of the things is that introducing that company, establishing a face for that particular industry or that company. 2, I think another thing is they needed someone to kind of communicate what they need to communicate, putting the message together, deciding on what the target, where that message was going to be. And I think that really helped solve a particular problem. If they had a launch, just kind of gathering all the resources and getting in a war room to determine how this launch was going to be done. And it has to be organized and researched and thought of. So I think that basically provided solutions for that particular company or that entity.
Absolutely. So I do appreciate your time and giving some definition to, our aspect and a perspective on PR. And there's so much more we could even talk about on that, reputation management and influencer and on. But I do appreciate you taking your time out from Italy.
Well, I'm so glad you invited me, Michelle. I just have to say, we've known each other for quite a while. And every time I talk to you, you're always so energetic. And I love your business and how you bring it forth. And as a woman business owner, it's even more important to be seen. And I think, you're capturing what you need to, you're capturing that perspective, but you're also projecting an image of a can-do spirit. And I think more and more women owners, business owners need to have that spirit. So thank you for inviting me.
Oh, thank you so much, Shirley. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please hit subscribe so you can get notified when new content comes out. Please share this with anyone who could be inspired by it, and feel free to post any questions so we can be inspired by new content. Thanks for listening. If you're interested in learning more, visit our website at bakercreative.co.